So applying to med school here in Australia can be somewhat of a daunting process, especially with universities here offering different medical curriculums. For example, why are some medical degrees 5 years, whereas others all up take a total of 7 years. So in this video I just wanted to go over the things I wish I knew when I was applying as a school leaver. What is up guys? So as we're approaching the middle of the year, I know that there are a lot of Year 12s out there looking to apply to medical school. So I thought what better way to kick off this channel than to drop this video. So if you don't know me, my name is Andrew. I'm a first year pre-med student studying in Perth with a graduate entry pathway into medicine. So when I was going through the application process last year, I used this great little guide by the AMSA, the Australian Medical Students Association. And what this guide goes through is basically every possible pathway there is, undergraduate or postgraduate, into medicine here in Australia. It's a really great resource. It's definitely worthwhile checking out, and I'll leave a link in the description below. So I'll be splitting this video into 3 main parts. The first part, I'll be discussing the differences between an MBBS and an MD. The second part, I'll be going over the difference between undergraduate and postgraduate medicine. And the third part, I'll be sort of showing you and helping you find which medical school is right for you. So let's get right into it. Alright, so first things first. In terms of professional accreditation, there's absolutely zero difference between an MBBS and an MD. Both degrees will provide you with the relevant qualifications to practice medicine in Australia. So the MBBS stands for Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery. It got its name from the United Kingdom, and naturally Australia followed suit. It's taken as an undergraduate double degree, which means you're studying 2 degrees simultaneously, and by undergraduate I mean your first university study outside of Year 12 equivalent. It's usually 5 to 6 years. Now historically, all Australian medical schools would have conferred the MBBS degree to their graduates. However, more recently, many schools have switched over from the MBBS to the MD. Now the MD stands for Doctor of Medicine, and if you keep up with Grey's Anatomy, you'll know that the MD comes from the American school system. Now the Doctor of Medicine is a postgraduate degree and usually involves components of research. Now, undergraduate medicine requires the completion of Year 12, but no prior university study is necessary. Typically, undergraduate medical students gain early clinical exposure, and it essentially means you're in medicine from day one. Almost all schools who offer undergraduate medicine courses require you to sit the UCAT, or the University Clinical Aptitude Test. So to apply to any one of these schools, you'll just have to take the normal steps required of you when you're applying to university, and that's through your state's tertiary admission centre. Some of the schools will require an additional written application, such as JCU, and some will require you to apply directly to the university, such as Bond University and UTAS. Now to apply to a postgraduate medical school, you'll normally have to sit the GAMSAT, which is the Graduate Medical Schools Admissions Test. Now that will normally take place in your 2nd or 3rd year of university study. However, as a school leaver, you do have pathways available that will allow you to gain seamless entry into these postgraduate medical schools without having to sit the GAMSAT further down the line. Now the main difference between this pathway and undergraduate medicine is that you'll have to complete your first degree before you start medical school. This is the pathway that I'm currently in, and it just means that the whole medical school process will be a lot longer, which is undesirable for some people. Everything all up, you're looking at 7 years compared to undergraduate medical degrees, which are 6 or even 5 years in length. So the postgraduate schools that have school leaver pathways available include UQ, Griffith University, Sydney University, and the University of Western Australia. Now, all of those schools that I just listed have school leaver pathways into their postgraduate medical programs. They will allow you to undertake any bachelor's degree you're choosing, which means you don't even have to necessarily study something science related, except for Griffith University. With Griffith University, you apply directly for their Bachelor of Medical Science. Now their Bachelor of Medical Science course is specifically designed to give you provisional entry into their medical program. Now there are 2 postgraduate schools which do have school leaver pathways into their medical programs that aren't really talked about. They're a bit obscure, and I don't think many people know about them. They are the University of Melbourne and Australian National University. Now the 2 pathways that I'm going to be going over are extremely competitive. They have insane entry requirements, but I just thought as a med school applicant, you should know all your options available. It's good to have a goal to sort of work towards throughout the year. Now with the University of Melbourne, they have the Melbourne Chancellor's Scholarship. Now with the Chancellor's Scholarship, not only do you get a generous financial grant, but also you get guaranteed entry into any one of their postgraduate degrees. Now this will include a Doctor of Medicine. There's a catch though, you'll have to sit an interview at the end of third year. If any one of you are interested in this scholarship, personally I don't think there's too much to worry about in regards to the interview at the end of third year. If you do end up getting the scholarship, you'll have so much time to prepare for this interview, and I really do feel like the benefits outweigh the risks. Now the Australian National University has their Tuckwell Scholarship. It's essentially the same deal as the Melbourne Chancellor Scholarship, except that you sit the interview before you start any university study. So I guess you have that sort of security if you do end up getting it. Now the University of Melbourne has an additional pathway into their postgraduate medical program. I think it's called the Guaranteed Entry Pathway or something like that. Now with this pathway you'll have to hit an ATAR requirement. The ATAR requirement will be significantly lower than the Chancellor Scholarship program, but it essentially follows the same process in terms of guaranteeing you entry into their postgraduate medical course. The catch is that you'll be applying for a full fee place, as opposed to the Melbourne Chancellor Scholarship program, which gives you a Commonwealth supported place. Now, full medical school fees are seriously no joke. As domestic students, we're lucky enough to have our government subsidise most of our study. However, if you're really keen on getting into med school, I do feel like this pathway is worthwhile looking into. Whether you're leaning more towards undergraduate medicine or the school leaver pathway into postgraduate medicine, you'll need to gain a competitive ATAR, sit the UCAT, and take an interview for most medical schools. Now, a lot of people say medicine is sort of the same wherever you go, and I definitely heard that a lot when I was sort of going through the application process. To an extent that is true, because no matter where you go, if you end up completing your degree, you'll be allowed to practice medicine here in Australia. However, personally for me, I do believe that there are some factors that play a role in deciding which school you want to sort of aim towards and get into. Now, if you don't really mind where you go and you just want to get into med school in the first place, that's perfectly fine. Applying to med school can be extremely competitive, so I'm sure you'll be happy wherever you go. Now, if you just want to get working ASAP and enter the workforce, maybe you should aim for a shorter medical degree. There are some schools which offer 5-year degrees, which is the quickest route you can take. So when I was applying to med school as a school leaver last year, I knew I wanted to continue some of my passions outside of medicine, the main one being music. So that's why I targeted the postgraduate medical schools, in particular the ones with school leaver pathways available to them. I thought that that first degree will give me time to grow as a person and mature, as well as give me an opportunity for student exchange. Unfortunately, I didn't get an offer from my home university, but I'm glad that I get to experience moving away from home. So that wraps up this video. I hope you found it useful, learnt a thing or two, and some basics about med school in Australia.